Okay, so we're live.
Hi Leah, how
Hey
are
there.
you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. The two of us haven't connected because we've been busy going from one change to the other over the summer,
Yes, and summer with
transitioning.
travel and different activities going on and all of that. So, what is transition meaning? What is the concept of transition bringing up for you right now these days?
So when I thought about the topic, I was thinking that for transition, there's a little bit of sadness and mourning, closing a
Mm,
door in order to open another door. And there are transitions that are out of our control. For instance, the seasons, right? And there are transitions that we know about. For instance, we know that the academic year will end, let's say, and then we'll be on holiday. But it can still be challenging.
mm-hmm.
So I just thought holding a few of those thoughts was something that helped me think of some of the transitions because you and I haven't met for a while. And I was thinking, gosh, things are out of my head. I can feel that I'm not into our usual energy.
And the rhythm and then the feel of things. And that's what
Exactly.
comes
What
up with
about for
transition.
you?
I never liked transitions. I'm never good at them and I never liked them. But transitioning into a conversation that I haven't had in a while has never been one of the things that I struggle with. Picking up conversations right where they left off, wherever they were. I hadn't thought about that, but that's not a challenge for me. Transitions, as in, like, now I'm relaxed and reading, and I need to go do something. That's a difficult transition. Transitions at the end of the school year, when I was a teacher, I was in tears letting those children go. And the beginning of a school year when I was a teacher, and then when I was a student, I used to always complain and want the other teacher back that I just had. I didn't want to be the new teacher.
You wrote that to me, and I wasn't sure. I thought
When I
that's
was
so
young, like 5,
interesting.
6, 7, 8, I had a teacher I liked when I was 9, fourth and fifth grade, and I got to have her for 2 years. And then I also had some teachers that were becoming more consistent after that as I got older. And in my school, the subject teachers were often the same. But they weren't great teachers either, but by the way, the early grades. But I was used to them and had relationships with them. And in part, I developed strong relationships with people. So one transition I'm not really good at is the goodbye relationship to people. And social media has made that a lot easier.
And I love what you said about these were teachers who weren't necessarily good at what they did, but you
Mm-hmm.
formed an attachment. It's almost like parents, right? Parents
Mm-hmm.
aren't always the parents we wish we had,
Mm-hmm.
but these are the parents we form an attachment to.
That's right.
And you were saying that even though these teachers you knew they were better ones, better qualified, you formed a relationship and it was comfortable.
Yeah, at that point, it was just an instinct that I think teachers, I had a very strong instinct as a child, and I've probably told you about how I thought adults could talk to children in a way that would be more productive and how they could talk to me in a way. Like my expectation and what I wanted from them was different from what I often got as a
Mm.
student, as a person, as a child. And that has been very formative for me in my life, as well as watching it with other people. So that instinct, then seeing it unfold with others,
Yes.
very strong in me to feel like there's a different way to do this and I'm going to figure it out. But that wasn't really there in any kind of clear way until maybe I was in fourth or fifth grade. And I can remember having so much clearer thoughts about a teacher. I don't think a teacher should be doing this. Is it okay for a teacher to be throwing chalk? Is it okay for a teacher to be turning a child's desk upside down? Like, I just knew something probably wasn't right about it, but I totally loved and respected my teacher.
Right.
So it was also something very in conflict. The younger grade
Yeah.
teachers, I
That
did not
dissonance.
love and respect in the same way. I just had attachments to and relationships with, like something.
Right.
They were the one who made me feel safe in that space, like you say, an attachment, right?
Exactly. There's a dissonance also with parents sometimes. I'm not
Mhm.
quite getting what I need, but I'm attached to. And when you're very young, of course, you need them, right? Because we don't survive by ourselves. We never
Okay.
survive by ourselves.
So since you brought that up a couple times, I've just been working on a blog post because I've been developed this concept around the fifth commandment, respect your father and your mother. It never tells us to love our parents. It tells us we should love our neighbors as ourselves. It tells us we should love God with all our heart, with all our might, with all our soul. So for those listening, the latter, the love God with all your heart, all your sight, is in early Deuteronomy, I think it's chapter 6. And the other is in the middle of Leviticus, I think it's chapter 18. And for parents, we're told to honor and respect. And that kaved verb for respect in Hebrew is similar to heaviness, right? When we talk about the heaviness of the stubbornness of the heart. And I think about that's kind of the dynamic of parents and children. It's how can you respect, and why respect our parents as a commandment. And I think it has to do with this because they're usually not able to meet all our needs. And there's something that's been very fallible about them. And if we can learn to respect them as human beings and expect them in their own way for who they are as parents, that's a huge personal growth. Because when you can start to see them and let go and mourn, right? Transition from expecting things from them, being disappointed from them, wanting things from them, to understanding that they are people that you can love and who loved you and who did their best, even if their best was they left you and they walked away.
Right.
They're people who did their best at who they could in the moment that they were human. And when we can come to understand and respect that, when I think people may already feel challenged by that, but I think that's when we learn to respect ourselves and we learn to respect others a whole lot more.
Right.
Anyway, that just came up because you said that a couple times, and that's a thought I've been sitting on a lot. So transitioning to respect my parents, even when I did not feel they respected me as a child, was always a big thing for me.
Right. So I think that with transition, there's a sense of mourning. I'm letting something go. One has to let go in order to make space for the new. One can also see it as an ending, a letting go, in order to see the opportunity in what now. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is when we're prepared for transition and when we're not. And very often, even though we know transition is coming up, a child's leaving home or an academic year is ending or a job, etc., it doesn't mean that it's easier. And the thing that I urge people to do when they feel a sense of sadness with transition is to just hold that sadness, just to allow it. I feel sad because there is a sense of mourning, even if what comes after is so much better. But because we don't know, right? I saw a beautiful metaphor once that unless you let go of the pier, you won't be able to see what's beyond. You need to let go and swim out to see that next opportunity. While you're always holding on, you can't necessarily see. Mm-hmm. And so I urge people to hold that mourning, that sadness, and then to open their eyes and see what opportunities lie ahead, and to try and receive the opportunities with less comparison. Try and see the opportunity as a standalone, if you like. If that needs to be the case. I mean, transitions, there's so many transitions, right? In relationships.
Accepting that piece of mourning and that piece of grief is the thing that's hard for us. We automatically start to want to push difficult feelings away, uncomfortable feelings away. So when transition brings a loss or sadness or saying goodbye to something, we resist it. And then as a child, I'd look backwards. Right. But I'm going to go biblical again. But I think that that's where the metaphor of Lot's wife being told not to look back comes from. Right? Or I think that that's the lesson in that story. Because there are times where we have to let go of things and move forward. And looking back doesn't serve us. Now, I think there's a way to look back.
Right.
That you can take some memories. There's a way to look back, but
yeah, for sure.
But I think it's letting it go in mourning and knowing that it's gone, because that difficult emotion is not as hard if you go through it as it is if you resist it, and the resistance keeps you from being able it kind of creates this energy field around you that you're unable to allow in the new things.
Right. And I think that the last thing that I'd like to offer is that going through the challenge, looking at it, facing it, therein already is the opportunity. This is scary. This is it's so scary to let go of this,
Yeah.
to look for the new opportunity. But if we stay with that, therein is the expansion.
So it's so important what you've just said, and I hope people really can take that, is that transition of the letting go and allowing the loss and the grief and looking forward, because in forward looking is the opportunity, and it's where that opportunity is going to be. So I think that people, even who are going through difficult things with job changes or moves or losses of people, it's hard to see the opportunities. And there are people who will say, well, this is not a transition I wanted. But most of the time, there are opportunities if you allow yourself to be receptive to them and open to them, even in the worst of transition circumstances. And some transitions aren't as hard. Some transitions are just hard because they're transitions.
Exactly.
They're just hard because they're transitions, and because this routine doesn't work anymore. Now I need a new routine. I don't like changing my routine.
That's okay.
Right.
It's going to be hard. No one gave us a signed contract. Life will be easy. Thank you so much, Leah. This is so lovely to reconnect, and I'll definitely put this in the group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, bye.